Good afternoon, everyone. Mario Quintero here with the One Stop Shop produced by marioshomenews.com. I hope everybody's doing well. And this week's topic is it's not over till the fat lady sings. And what does that mean? Well, we're specifically talking about a real estate or mortgage transaction. And what that means is the following, and we're going to break this up into buyer, seller, and also take a look at when you refinance. And so as a buyer, you go ahead and you put your contract in, you go through the inspection, you go through the appraisal, you go through the underwriting, and then you eventually get the clear to close. And you show up at an attorney's office or a title company, and you go in there to sign all your documents. And then once you sign all the documents, it's not over. There's still some procedural things that have to occur before you're able to get the keys. Okay, so let's go over that right now so that you don't have any unrealistic expectations. So you go through the signing of all the documents, usually about a 1 inch to 1.5 inches worth of paper, and to the lender. The lender needs to complete a final quality and control process and review of that entire deck of documents. So then once the lender does finish the quality and control of documents, then they're going to approve the final package. Somebody has to sign off on that signed package. And then they're going to give approval with funding instructions in writing to the attorney or to the title agent on how to disperse those funds. And then that's the point where they can release the funds to all the parties. They got to pay off an existing mortgage that the seller may have. They got to write the checks for maybe the insurance that was bound. They may have to send the checks to the different real estate brokerages for the commissions that were earned at that point, so on and so on. Then what happens is, at that point, when the funding has officially occurred, then you as the buyer can secure the keys. Prior to that point, you can't have the keys because your possession of that property is contingent upon all these things occurring. So if you go to a closing and you walk out of there with no keys, don't be disappointed because these things do have to occur. Now, one of the things that we usually recommend and we always try to work on is for our buyers to close when they're purchasing a property late morning, no later than 11 or 12 o'clock. And the reason for that is that once our buyers sign, then they have that little 2 to 4 hours in the afternoon for this process to take place and for the wires that need to happen on the funds to be able to take place before the national wire system doesn't close down at 4 o'clock. Because if not, you'll have to wait for the keys until the following day. So we always like to close late morning to give the title company the time necessary to do their thing, let the lender do their quality control, give the funding instructions. The title company then calls us and say, okay, you can release the keys. So that's everything in a nutshell, and that's why I say it's not over until the fat lady sings, and the fat lady needs to sing in order for the title company to receive the funds and release the funds, all right? As far as being a seller in this process, usually sellers can sign their documents 1 to 2 days prior to the actual buyers signing their documents, and this way they can review the closing disclosure, and they can know what expenses they had as a seller, and they can also identify how much in the way of funds they're going to receive, okay? And we always recommend that our sellers request a wire transfer as soon as the funds become available into the account that they prefer. The reason we recommend a wire is so that, there's no hold on a cashier's check or a regular check, and they can secure the funds into their account the first available date when the buyer's funds clear. So these are a couple of, so you have 3 days from the time you sign, and it does not include holidays. Okay, so it does include Saturday, but it doesn't include holidays. And we count off those 3 days, and on the closing disclosure of a refinance at the top right-hand corner, it will say the day that funds will be dispersed. And that's the day that you will receive your money if you're doing a cash out, or that will be the day that actually your refinance will officially close. If the funds are cash out, they're to be received, we also recommend that you receive a wire for those funds, so they go right into the account that you decide. And once again, there's no delay in you receiving your funds. Couple of key points that I'd like to mention outside of those 3 things that we just discussed today is that on a mortgage, whether you're getting a new mortgage as a buyer or you're getting a new mortgage on a refinance, we do not recommend auto debit twice a month, every 15 days, to be debited by your lender. We don't recommend that because it's costly, and there's a cost to set that up, and then there's a fee. Every time they take the money out, they charge you a fee. So by the time you look at all these fees, you could have very well done that yourself by wiring the funds to the lender every 15 days. Or, it's a lot easier if once a year you make one additional payment within a 12-month calendar period. And what that'll give you, let's say on a 30-year mortgage, it'll reduce your principal by 8 years, or it'll reduce the time of your loan from 30 to 22 years, just by making one extra payment per year that you got to designate separately to your lender. And that's probably just as good as paying every 15 days and saving the money from auto debits by your lender. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. Once again, keep in mind, it's not over till the fat lady sings on all transactions. So if you like the information I gave you today, feel free to share it to your friends on Facebook and other social media. You might be helping them with this information. Also, this program that we have here every week, the One Stop Shop, it is produced by our MariosHomeUse.com, which has a full library of all our videos, our testimonials, and it has access to all our websites and our social media. So if you have the chance, go ahead and visit MariosHomeUse.com. And if you need to speak to me for any reason at all, feel free to reach out to me here in the office at 305-598-1600 or on my cell, 305-588-0451. I wish you a great evening and a wonderful weekend. Thank you.